Hello everyone. We will continue to discuss what is HRM, why is it important, and what are the functions of HRM in terms of line and staff functions. Is HRM important? Yes, it is important, otherwise there will be no course like HRM. Okay. It is important because you don't want to hire the wrong person. If you hire the wrong person, who's going to carry out those tasks? You don't want to experience high turnover, because if you lose a worker, an employee who is experienced in his job, then it will be a very disadvantage for you. You will have to hire another person, you will teach them, train them, etc. And there will be a time to gain again this experience. And if people do not commit themselves, if they don't do their best, then there will be another problem regarding the performance of the organization. And if you do not have a proper functioning of HR department, then you might waste time, you might waste time, you might lose time with useless interviews. And of course, when there is a problem regarding your employees, then there will be a court case and there might be some negative consequences for your firm and for your employees as well. And if your HRM department doesn't work well, there might be some unsafe practices which you might easily discard, which is very detrimental for your organization as well. And salaries are an important part of jobs, so compensation management is very important. So what if salaries are unfair and inequitable? So HRM is very important, and HRM commits and carries out two important functions. But first of all, I need to explain what line management and what staff management is. Line management. Line managers are very important in organizations. For example, what do I mean by line managers? Line managers or line management position is directly involved in the day-to-day operations of the organization, such as production, selling a product or service. So line personnel carries out the primary activities of business and are considered essential to the basic functioning of the organization. So in this sense, HRM has also line function because you have a department, HRM department. HR manager is the line manager, so he or she has to direct the management operations. And we can say all managers are in a sense HR managers because somehow they involve in activities like recruiting, interviewing, selecting and training. So that's why there is a kind of merge between those functions. So that's why it is better to understand what a line function is and what staff function is and what are the line functions of HRM, what are the staff functions of HRM, and what are the HR functions of line managers. So I will try to explain all of those issues in this video. Okay, let's come back to line management and what line management is. Line management, I have explained that they are related to day-to-day operations like production, selling, etc. And I said that they carry out the primary activities of business and they are essential to the organization. So line managers are responsible for the main activity, for example, production. So production manager is the line manager, and production manager is responsible for the production. So then production manager is also responsible for the performance of their subordinates. So line manager, for example, production manager is responsible for the performance of those who are working under the department or in the department of production. Why is it important? It is important because you need to achieve company's objectives. You need to achieve and maintain competitive advantage, and without line management, it is not possible. So in this figure, you can see that line management is the straight line. Production manager, for example, is the line manager. What is the relationship between line management and staff management in terms of authority? Authority means the right to give orders and expect obedience. So, in this sense, if you have a line authority, that means you have a right to give orders to your subordinates, and that order must be carried out. But when it comes to staff authority, you cannot give orders. So, your words, your decisions are a kind of advice. That's why, for example, in this figure, you see that legal advisor has staff authority, dotted line, staff authority, because they cannot give orders to production manager, for example. But he or she can give advice to them, but this is not order, because he or she has not line authority. He or she has staff authority. So that's why there is a key differentiation between line authority and staff authority in terms of giving orders. When it comes to line managers' HR responsibilities, we can say that, for example, they place the right person on the right job. They give orientation. So as you can see, actually those functions are also carried out by HRM department. Training and development, performance evaluation, or for example, training and development, compensation management, performance management, employee relations. Actually, line managers can very well do those things as well. For example, line manager, you need a person in a production department. You need to write down qualifications for the person needed for the post. But for example, HR department can initiate the interviews or can conduct initial tests. And during this process, line management or line manager can also involve in those process. For example, line manager can ask for further training and education, and HRM can organize that kind of training seminars. It is possible. So as you can see, line managers can also carry out HR function as well, which we call line managers HRM responsibilities. Organizing the HR department's responsibilities. So suppose that we have an HRM department. What are the core responsibilities? Actually, the core responsibilities are the functions I have already explained in the previous video. For example, they are recruiters. So you need to recruit people. You need to recruit the best person for the job. So in this sense, you need to search for the qualified job applicants. So this is one of the responsibility of an HR department. Or equal employment opportunity. For example, in this sense, when there are some problems regarding representation or discrimination, HR department should solve those problems as well. If there is a potential violation or there is a real violation. Job analyst. We have already discussed and we will discuss in a detailed manner in the future. You need to collect and examine detailed information about the job to write down job qualification, job definition, job description, and job specification. Compensation management, of course, this is one of the core functions of an HRM, so that's why this is one of the key responsibilities of HR department. You need to develop compensation plans and handle the employee benefit plans. Training specialist, of course, HR department should plan, organize, and direct training activities. And labor relations. In this sense, HR department should involve in those relationship between employees and employers and advise management on all aspects of, for example, trade unions, and management relations. So in this sense, HR manager has two functions. The first function is line function or line authority. The second one is staff function, staff authority. Remember, line authority. You have a right to give orders and expect obedience. So in this sense, HR manager is line manager in his or her department. So the HR manager directs the activities of the people in his or her department. So in this sense, you are an HR manager, departmental head, and you can give orders. And that is exactly the line authority. But staff authority is a little bit different. I told you, you don't have a right to give orders, but you can give assistance. You can give advice. So, for example, you can give advice to CEO, you can give advice to top managers, you can give advice to line managers. This is possible. You can assist them, for example, you can assist a line manager such as production manager in hiring, training, evaluating, etc., etc. But in the sense of assisting, so in the sense of staff function. So in this sense, HR manager has staff authority, staff function within an organization. But within the department of HRM, within the HR department, he or she exerts line function, line authority. Thank you very much for listening. See you later.